Good morning, viewers. Welcome to DDM Morning Show on DDM Television. I am Tosh Raphael, joined by DDM News analysts Ibrahim Omawase and Akor Christian Oche, convener Due Process Integrity Vanguard. Glad to have you on board, Ibrahim and Christian.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for having me tonight.
All right. Now, on DDM Morning Show today, the Nigerian Senate blocks Senator Natasha from resuming her seat even after serving a 6-month suspension, stirring political controversy. On the sports front, the Super Eagles face a crucial showdown against South Africa in a high-stakes FIFA 2026 World Cup qualifiers with expert analysis on what this means for Nigeria's ambition. Meanwhile, on the international stage, Israel launches a fresh attack targeting Hamas leaders in Qatar, escalating tensions in the Middle East. Now, these pressing issues set the stage for intense discussions on today's show. Stay tuned. All right, well, welcome back. Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, representing Kogi Central, has been blocked from resuming her legislative duties in the Nigerian Senate, despite serving a 6-month suspension. The suspension began on March 6, 2025, following allegations of gross misconduct and violation of Senate rules, particularly related to a confrontation over seating arrangements with Senate President Godswill Akpabio. Although her suspension period lapsed on September 4, 2025, the National Assembly, through acting clerk Yahaya Danzaria, has maintained that she cannot resume because the matter is still sub judice, pending a judgment from the Court of Appeal. The acting clerk communicated in a letter on September 4 to Senator Akpoti that no administrative action would be taken to facilitate her return until the Court of Appeal resolves the legal dispute. This has fueled controversy and accusations of political maneuvering, with Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan and the People's Democratic Party condemning the move as unlawful, provocative, and in violation of the 1999 Constitution. They argue that the suspension was politically motivated after she filed a petition accusing Senate President Akpabio of sexual harassment, a claim dismissed by the Senate leadership. Senator Akpoti had earlier written to notify the Senate of her intention to resume full duties, citing a federal high court ruling in July 2025 that declared her suspension excessive and unconstitutional, ordering her reinstatement. Now, despite this, she was barred from accessing her office and participating in Senate activities, sparking protests from supporters and calls from human rights groups like SERAP for the Senate to uphold the rule of law and allow her immediate return. All right, to talk more on this, we are welcoming once again Mr. Christian Akor Oche, convener Due Process Integrity Vanguard. You're welcome once again.
Yes, thank you for having me on the DDM Morning Show.
One more time, Senate, a lawmaker, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, is on the headlines. He's making headlines. He's popular again. He's trending again because of the same situation. But what do you make of it? Let's start from there.
Whatever it is that the Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, has determined in his mind that led to the suspension, the process through which he was suspended, the imposition of the will of Godswill Akpabio through the process. You could even see that neither the votes of the senators actually made the difference, as Senator Godswill Akpabio used his veto power to actually enact her eventual suspension. All that went in was very glaring that Godswill Akpabio never wanted her to be part of the Senate any longer, given the allegation that she has made. Of course, you don't expect anything positive from this whole thing, and the Nigerian state has not been known to respect the rule of law. Of course, they have muzzled her out of the Senate, and they are not backing down anytime soon. It's rather unfortunate that the supposed highest institution that is responsible for lawmaking will have to entangle ourselves in abuse of power and procedure. So they are only using the courts as an excuse to delay her return to the Senate after the illegal suspension. So it's rather unfortunate that the Nigerian state, they seem not to learn any lesson from previous history that have told the path of democracy. Countries have been in democracy and have gone out of democracy to military rule. They've never learned anything from that. Even what is happening currently in Nepal, where the citizens have taken to the streets to demand enough is enough for their violation of freedom. You understand, the government of Nepal enacted anti-social media laws that prompted the people to rise to demand the removal of the president as a result of corruption and other offenses. So the Nigerian government always underrates the power of the people, and this whole thing, when put together at the end of the day, it will suffocate the government. They cannot survive it. Should there be a repeat, an activation of the Gen Z generation in Nigeria, as we already currently seeing in Nepal, they cannot survive it because over the years, they've tended to satisfy their ego and satisfy their unlimited greed for power and financial aggrandizements. And in this case, should there be any uprising, I don't see them surviving it. That's my submission.
All right. But what lessons do you think Nigerians should learn from this Natasha saga?
The Nigerian Senate, like every other government parastatal, they hardly shown that they have learned any lesson. Natasha, as a woman, her right was infringed upon. She claimed to have been abused sexually, which should have ordinarily, in a sane country, the Senate president ought to have stepped aside, but he was seen presiding over his own matter. Even in the face of law, there is no room for you to preside over, be a judge in your own case. So that is the flex of power beyond what it should be. And the Senate president has always has portrayed himself as abuse of power in the eyes of the Nigerian people. The lesson for the Nigerian people is what I find it difficult. I only hope that the Nigerian people will see this case as not just Natasha, but an injustice against all. Take, for instance, the people of Okene, the entire senatorial zone where she represents, talking about Senator Akpoti Uduaghan Natasha, the Senate, the geographical setting that she represents, they have been kept aside in the scheme of things in the National Assembly. Who is representing them? You know, they have been excluded from the scheme of things, and I don't understand how this will be corrected, because it's 6 months now. Their matter, their interest is not being represented at the National Assembly. So how do we make of this? This is another lacuna that have been created in the governance of this country, where a complete senatorial district has been excluded from governance. Yet, everybody is moving on.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Ibrahim, let's have your take.
Right, Mr. Tukurafel, the area I'm most interested in is the area of sidelining her own constituents. Let us not forget that Natasha Otiodo-Ogan is not just a person, she's representing a particular group of people, a senatorial district for that matter. So I expect the people of that senatorial district to challenge the Senate, if possible, even sue the Senate to put them on check, because as he rightly mentioned, their interest has not been represented in the National Assembly. Are they being excluded from the scheme of things in the Federal Republic of Nigeria? That's the big question. They are part and parcel of Nigeria, and rules are being made without them. And clearly, I don't think that goes in line with the principles of democracy. So Natasha Akpoti-Odoh-Ogan, whether she violates the rule of engagement as claimed by the Senate or not, that's not the point. She served the 6 months suspension term, and she wants to come back. You are trying to stop her from coming back to the Senate. That's uncalled for. That's unfortunate of the Nigerian Senate. And if the lawmakers become the law breakers, then we have every reason to worry about our country. At least, even if they want to impose another sanction on her, allow her to come back to the Senate first before they try to do anything. But she finished the 6 months, and still they are trying to stop her from being in the Senate. And I don't know, why are they so afraid of her coming back to the Senate? Did she know something that they are afraid of her disclosing to the general public or to the Nigerian people? There are a lot of things that we have to ask ourselves the question. And I believe, since this is a breaking news, our constituents will not remain silent due to the fact that, yes, you punish her, you claim that she violates rule of engagement in the House, and she came back after 6 months. Allow her to go back to the Senate to represent us. And Nigerians should also stand for her this critical moment in time.
As part of further strategy is that the people of Natasha constituency should awaken the public, should engage the people to rise in civil disobedience and protest, hit the streets, and ensure that they demand for the adequate representation of their constituency by reinstating Senator Natasha Akpoti-Odoh-Ogan, because as it is now, their interest is not represented at the National Assembly, which is a huge gap and a huge loss for the constituency.
All right, thank you very much. I think I agree with you. Natasha is facing an unfair problem here, even though she has served 6 months suspension, should I say punishment, so-called punishment, and yet she has been stopped from coming back to work in the Nigerian Senate. But this started because of a fight. We all know the fight over where she should sit in the Senate and some serious rules she was accused of breaking. Now, the Senate says she cannot return yet because the matter is still waiting for a decision in court. But this is where it gets difficult to understand and unfair. Earlier this year, the Federal High Court ruled that keeping her suspended for 6 months was too much and against the law. The court said she should be allowed to come back to work. Now, despite this instruction from the court, the Senate has not followed the court's order. Instead, the letter from the acting clerk says her return will be postponed until a higher court, the Court of Appeal, decides. Now, many people, including the Senator Akpoti and her party, the PDP, believe this is a political harassment, and that is what it is. They say she was punished because she complained about the Senate president for sexual harassment. That is what it is. They feel the suspension and refusal to allow her back is about rules, but it's not about rules, but about silencing her. Now, this has made her supporters angry and even led to protests. Groups that defend human rights are calling on the Senate to obey the law and let her come back immediately. Thank you very much. This is where we draw the curtain on DDM Morning Show. But let me remind you, if you look on the topics that we discuss, and then share this video so that every other person will see and watch and listen. I am Tosh Raphael. Mr. Due Process, thanks for your contribution and time.
Yes, thank you for having me.
All right, viewers, see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.